Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, this is BestInSlot, and welcome to Skull Island. This is the World of Kong mod, made by Sweetener. I'll link it down below in the description. This mod adds not 1, not 2, not 3, not 16, but 15 new species of creature to the game, all based around the 2005 Peter Jackson King Kong, and an incredible art book that was released to coincide with the film. A very expensive and hard to get art book, but an incredible one all the same. Lots of creatures to get through. I'm going to try to make it snappy. Credit to Sweetener and some other mod makers though. They all, everyone pitched in to help. I'm going to link it down below. Go check it out. Give the mod lots of love because it is incredible. It is worth mentioning this does replace existing dinosaurs, not add them. We're not quite at the point where, every mod is going to be adding new dinosaurs to the game. One day, we'll get there, but right now, it's a replacer. But it's 15 new creatures, guys. So you could easily, as I've done right here, make a Kong-inspired park and just do an entire build based on these 15 animals. Which I did. So, let's get started. First up on our list then is one you won't recognise. It is Atacurasaurus, and this was, as I mentioned, the art book. This was one of the dinosaurs that only appeared in that art book. It never made it into the film. Obviously there was a lot of concept art and plans and just rounding out of the lore of the island as well. And this kentrosaurid sort of dinosaur was one on that list. Looks pretty cool. One of them over here, yes, this one over here is crazy in the colours. All of these creatures, I'll just show you a hatchery quickly, come with multiple skins, but also multiple, they've got new names, as you can see here, they've got new pictures and everything like that. It's a very detailed mod, which is pretty cool. Anyways, back to work. So that is our Atacurasaurus. Not much to say about it, looks great. Part of the lore of the world. I'm not going to try to spend too long on every creature because, as I say, there are 15 of them. So we're going to move on to the next one. One you probably will recognise if you've watched the film. This is the Brontosaurus. Handedly very similar to the Jurassic World Apatosaurus, but with a slightly more rounded head and slightly less dumb old man face, but it's close, I don't know. But you'll recognise Brontosaurus from one of the big scenes in the film where the herd is charging forward because they've been hunted down by the Venatosaurus. A lot of them tumble off the edge, everyone's getting crushed and having to run away from those big old sauropods. One of the better levels in the video game as well. As our Brontosaurus. Another one you probably won't recognise though is Adlaposaurus. Let's find number 1, there you go. This is a very strange rhinoceros dinosaur, are you dead? esque creature. It's a hard one to place. Doesn't, I believe, make it into the film unless I've gone utterly crazy. Well said, buddy. Well said. So again, this would have been featured in the art book. It's a very bizarre looking creature, I'm not going to lie, but it's part of the lore of Kong, as they say. And I've got to say, King Kong 2005 is one of my all-time favourite films, so it's really cool seeing these things come to life. It's not just ground creatures though. This is something you may recognise mainly from, I would say, the video game. Now I will say these are a little bit finicky. They're a little bit derpy looking, but there you go. This is, what's it called? Terrapusmordax. Now if you are like me and you've played the video game many times, you'll recognise these as the bizarre bat creatures that attack you for the first half of the game pretty constantly. You even battle the matriarch at some point and try to save... Are you saving Denim at that point? I think you are. Anyways, you battle tons of these batty creatures during the game. The mouth is permanently stuck open. It's a little bizarre, but... Okay, don't get too close. But hey, it looks like a bat creature. This one in particular, with that colouring, has that very pale, blind bat kind of look to it. It's pretty cool. And the noises work terrifyingly well. As I say, we must be snappy. Moving on over here towards the top, we have 2 creatures that did make it into the film, technically. And I do mean technically. The first one is Ligo Christus. Is that the name? Yes, Ligo Christus, which is a Parasaurolophus of some description. Now, you may be thinking you don't recognise this from the film. One of the creatures we're going to see later on, its introduction into the film, is when it's seen feasting on the corpse of Ligo Christus. That's the only part in the entire film, I believe, that Ligo Christus appears, is when it's being eaten by another creature, which we'll see in a little bit. But, yeah, there you go. Along with the Ligo, we have Ferracutus. Now, Ferracutus actually got a fairly huge scene in the film. It's a pretty standard-looking ceratopsid, very big, impressive crest, though. I mean, a lot of the creatures in Kong 2005 were heavily based on existing dinosaurs. if you don't recognise Ferracutus, that'll be because you haven't seen the extended edition of Kong, which you definitely should. In the extended edition of King Kong 2005, there is an entire scene where they battle and try to survive an attack from like a territorial Ferracutus that looks just like this, with a very bizarre bone pad at the front, which then splits off into these two separate horns. A very interesting looking creature, especially with that very staggeringly arched back there. They look great together. Nice and wholesome. Who is dying? Why are you dying? Let me just give them some food. They seem sad. There you go. Right, moving on then. So we've done that, we've done that. We're going to move on down here. Here we have a series of carnivores. Here's one I made earlier. Are they all in the shadow? Yes, but they're emerging. This is Acdactylus. It's a small, medium-sized theropod. With very dangly arms, basically. This is... A lot of them next to you, I think, are all ones that kind of came from the art book rather than came from the actual film, so you may not recognise them. Makes them a little bit less exciting, but... also makes them interesting. They're unique. They're creatures we've not heard or seen of before. There you go. And feel free, by the way, you can Google all of these species names. There it is again. Acdactylus. It's pretty cool. And, be able to check the wiki on them. People have taken screenshots, so photographs, I suppose, of the book and stuff like that. So you can kind of read it without owning it. Over here we have Tornis, which is the largest of the carnivorous flightless birds on Skull Island. Again, of course, did not make it into the film, unfortunately. I believe this is based on a Suchomimus or something. I know it is a Piscivore, either way. But, yeah, it's basically Skull Island's equivalent of a terror bird. That's pretty cool. It's got feathers, which is nice. It's always nice to see the feathers. It looks similar to Siaka's terror bird, and I think I saw Siaka in the modder help page, so maybe a terror bird was contributed. Who knows? Lots and lots of modders did help put this project together, but it was helmed by Sweetener. Finally, in our mid-sized carnivores, we have yet another book-only one. It's the Adlaposaurus, I believe it's called. Adlaposaurus, which I think looks like a Proceratosaurus, but I think it's actually a dilo, isn't it? I think it's a dilo. It's actually a pretty cool-looking dinosaur, this. Yeah, I really like the look of this. That double crest at the front, that very strange, long, and again, the spines are very uppy-downy. I don't really know what the better term would be. Undulating. Undulating is the term I was looking for. A really attractive little dinosaur, very sexy, and, well, that's a weird sentence, and, yeah, definitely one worth adding to your parks. I believe, if I have a little poke over here, yeah, I'm just going to show you this quickly as well. As I say, not only did new creatures get added to the game, but new things in general, and two of those things are ambient animals. So one of them is this over here. I believe it's called like a gaur or something, but it's basically a cow, a type of bovine that would be native to Skull Island. That replaces the goat in the feeder. And if we go over here and we make some trees, and we get rid of the trees, you'll see some macaws there. Or are they? They are actually death parrots, or carrion parrots. I think they're carrion parrots, but we're going to call them death parrots, which are basically macaws, but purple, and assumedly they eat carrion. I don't really know much about these, if I'm totally honest with you. But they're cool. And cool things are cool. Right, next up on our list, we're going to nip over here to the north, and we have Silverceratops, another ceratopsid that, well, didn't even make it into the extended edition, quite frankly. Very, very tall in the legs. It kind of looks like a Tasmanian tiger or something. It just happens to have a ceratopsid head. A very strange looking little dinosaur over here. Where's number one? There it is. Very strange. I mean, the Pentaceratops already had that kind of long-legged approach, which looked a little bit odd, but this boy, it takes it to a whole nother level. It actually just looks like a dog of some description that, mated with a ceratopsid, or a dog with a giant moth upon its forehead. But it's pretty cool. Over here we have a little carnivore. This is the Photodon. Now, the Photodon did make it into King Kong 2005. The Photodon attacked Anne, I believe it was Anne. It attacked someone anyway. And the Photodon was actually the creature feasting on the Ligo Christus, the Parasaurolophus from earlier, the Parasaur-looking dinosaur from earlier, I should say. This was feasting on the Ligus. What's it called again? Sorry. There's too many names. Ligo Christus. This was feasting on the Ligo Christus, so if you want to go back and find it, you would find the scene where they find this thing, it's eating from the corpse, kind of like the T-Rex in Jurassic World 3, and then it chases after them, and then it gets killed by the Vrex, I want to say. But there you go, it's a very, kind of has like a primordial look to it, again, very undulating in the spine, but it feels a little bit like a synapsid, it feels like a Dimetrodon, it feels like something that came even before the dinosaurs, you know, it's got that sort of old school, archaic sort of look to it. It's a little bit freaky, I'm not going to lie. Especially from the front. It's got a hell of a nozzer on it. Right, moving on. We have 4 species left to go. Speed. So over here we have, which is one I want, this one first. This is the Venatosaurus, definitely one of the more recognizable dinosaurs from King Kong, both as a video game player and as a movie watcher. This is, of course, the equivalent of a velociraptor in the world of King Kong. This is our 2-legged man-eating theropod that regularly chased our heroes, and at the end of the game, kind of took over as the main antagonist when you were playing in human form, I would say. Killed a lot of these, or ran away from a lot of these, I should say. And these, of course, come in several colours as well. Exactly. But not only do we have Venatosaurus, but we have Venatosaurus Impavious, which you won't recognise, but this is basically a secondary species of the Venatosaurus. It's in the art book, it's not in the films or games or whatever, but it's just a smaller, sneakier version, a sneakier subspecies of the Venatosaurus, essentially. And living in harmony. It's got a very cool appearance with this kind of stripes, strong striping down the back, and it should have, yes, actually, I went to check the art book, well, the wiki page, I should say. I sort of read up on these before this video, obviously, and it mentions that the tip of the tail is blue, so I really wanted to check that in-game, just to show their dedication to detail. You know, it's a smaller size, it's got the same body shape, the same head design, the same modelling on the head, it's got the stripes, and it's got the blue tail. Really cool, and you can see how it should be about half the size of those ones over there, and you can see that, you know, that it basically is. I believe this is based on the Spinoraptor over here, and that's probably a Velociraptor, I think. Anyways, those are the smaller creatures of Skull Island. I need to catch my bloody breath. I talk too fast. I swear to God. There's a couple more to go, though. So, the big one of those is, of course, Vastastosaurus. Here we go. The Vrex, as it's otherwise known, I believe this replaces the T-Rex, but the Vrex, the Vastastosaurus, Kong's arch enemy, other than humans, when they're on Skull Island. You know, one of the best scenes in video game history for me is the first encounter with the Vrex as a human player in King Kong. It's pouring down rain, it's nighttime, the rocks are wet. Those of you who've seen me play that scene will know how excited I get about the wet rocks. But, yeah, it's a really, really cool introduction, and it's a fantastically modelled, sort of just more bulky, angry-looking T-Rex, essentially. But a V-Rex wouldn't be much use if you didn't have a King Kong to go along with it. This is the only one I've not released yet. I don't know how this is going to look. It is, at the end of the day, an ape in Jurassic World Evolution, with the same animations and models and limitations as a sauropod, but, Mega Primatus Kong. Here we go. I have not seen this, but I'm very excited. Oh, it looks amazing! Kong is very sus. Oh, he's even walking on his knuckles. I love that. Kong's a big boy. Which is what you'd expect. Cow just gets smushed. Oh, that actually looks really good. I'm kind of surprised, honestly. He's got a big head, doesn't he? Doesn't sound like Kong. Definitely doesn't sound like Kong, but that's okay. I mean, it's not perfect. I don't think it was ever going to be. He's very shiny. Rather than, you know, hairy, as you would want, but it works better than I thought it would, the walking on the knuckles, replacing the front legs. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's about as good as we're going to get in Jurassic World Evolution at this point in time, anyway. But the point is, you can't have... Look at him. That big old monkey booty. Ape booty, I suppose. You can't have Skull Island without Kong himself, can you? Just want to see the V-Rex. Now, unfortunately, the V-Rex is not based on the Indominus Rex, it's based on a T-Rex, and Kong himself is, as I say, based on a sauropod. So the V-Rex and the Kong do not have any interaction. It would be cool if the V-Rex was based on the Indominus instead, because then the V-Rex could kill Kong, which is, you know, film appropriate, but that's not the way it is right now, so... well, difference in size is nuts. So big boy. If you've gone to challenge mode, you can see there, instead of Sanctuary, we now have Skull Island. Are you tough enough to tame the wilderness of Skull Island? Let's see if you're up to the challenge. And if you go on that on Sandbox, as I say, I think this should say Skull Island because it actually has the description. In 1933, Carl Denham shocked the world when he unveiled King Kong to a stunned crowd at the Alhambra Theatre. But Kong was just the beginning. Skull Island is now yours. And now look at it in the top right as well. Bam! Amazing. So I'm just going to load it up very quickly on challenge mode. I've never tried this. Oh, tell you what, I will. Why not? Let's just show you absolutely everything. So, I'm gonna show you the signs as well that you put in front of your habitat, and that should be everything in the mod. There you go. Ligo Christus, they've all named as well. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. I can't get over it. Okay, let's just show you those nice and quick. So that would be the Diablo and. There you go, and there's a Ligo Christus. This whole brand new skulls. Ready for those individual creatures. It's really cool. That's our pterosaur thing. Yeah, look at that bizarre, terrifying beast or bat creature. Right, anyways, as I say, I'll link this down below in the description. Do go give it a look for yourselves. It's absolutely a mod worth your time and attention and love. One of the most dedicated and, you know, most worked mods in the history of Jurassic World Evolution, and that's pretty cool. World of Kong, celebrating, in my opinion, one of the best films ever made. Unironically, I think it is that good. Check it out down below. Give the mod makers lots of love. Give me lots of love for making a park for this video. If you want to hit the like button and subscribe and all that malarkey, that would be super cool of you. And, you know, you're a super cool person, so do it. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you lovely folks next time. Cheers much love as always. Bye-bye.